What's up, everyone? Morning Crows here, and today we're going to be breaking down Christian Coleman versus Noah Lyles at the Bermuda Grand Prix, and really was an interesting race to be able to see how well Christian Coleman came out of the blocks, how good of a start he was able to get in comparison to Noah Lyles, and really the finish overall. What stands out is, obviously Christian Coleman does a really good job with that initial reaction, and he also does a good job being able to pick up a lot of distance per step. So we can see here, like, he gets this third step down very, very quickly in comparison to Noah Lyles, where, you can see Noah Lyles is still off the ground here. And that gives him a great advantage when it comes to get that turnover going quickly, and it shows that he has that turnover going a lot faster. But because of the angle and how his overall running is, where he's very focused on that horizontal force, he's picking up a lot more distance, where Noah Lyles is much more vertical force in what he's doing. So he's getting really high with the knee, right? So we can see with Christian Coleman, not nearly as high at the knee, still gets good knee height in general, but it's not nearly as high as Noah Lyles here. So therefore, he's able to really pick up, again, a lot more distance. When you're focusing more on horizontal, that means you're focusing on being able to move this way much faster, much quicker, where Noah Lyles is getting his legs through, and he has longer legs, so he has to put a little bit more of a focus on being able to get into that vertical position. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that there's a difference between what you're going to be able to obviously get between the two different techniques. So you can see with his landing position, he does such a great job, very smooth with his ability to absorb and transition right back off. This is why he is amongst one of the best starters in the world, if not the best starter in the world, is because he's very, very smooth there. Now, once he gets into his top speed, and we've talked about this before, that right leg and how he's very turned out to the side, it actually looks like he's doing a little bit better job with it, but it's still something that is not perfect. He used to really turn a lot more to the side with his hips. It looks like he's doing a better job of facing straight ahead. He just has a little bit more of the foot turning off to the side. And really, the reason that we want to look a lot into particular parts of running is just because then it gives us a better opportunity to be able to understand what is it that really separates top sprinters, right? If we could really differentiate between horizontal force and vertical force, and what's going to be the main thing that we want to be able to isolate and improve, maybe improving your first 10 meters, your first 20 meters when it comes to understanding your acceleration and your ability to get into your top speed, and then what your top speed should look like. That really allows us to either work forward from there, work backward from there, be able to really understand and navigate through some of the main problems or main things that we'd like to be able to focus on when it comes to overall development. Because, like I see, for instance, so many people, when their foot striking the ground, just not being very straight with the leg, not being in a position where they're upright through the spine. And even though Christian Coleman is somebody that is not necessarily known for his top speed, he does a lot of the things well when it comes to getting to his top speed and having a clean form there. Obviously, Noah Lyles also, like, look at how straight his leg is as he's striking the ground. Now, I do think that there's that horizontal force where he's pulling that foot back underneath him, but you can see how good that he's doing, being able to get those hips all the way through, and so his hips are right over his foot, and he's also very straight with the leg, very tall with his landing, and being able to build that makes it so he has that ability to really get to that top speed very effective, very efficiently. Now, if we could look to see in his start, what are some of the things that he might be doing here? Yeah, it looks like the left leg ends up being an issue, like the left foot. When he's landing, what you want to be able to do is stick it a little bit better. If we see with Christian Coleman, he comes in a little bit with that left heel, right? Notice here, boom, that left heel goes in right there. But watch Noah Lyles now with his left heel, how it comes a lot more in. See that right there? And it really drops and almost stays there too. And so that makes it so now when he's pressing off, he's not getting full extension, full internal rotation in that hip. You can see how he's coming much more across. He's almost getting like an adduction there. And so what that does is it makes it so when that foot's coming through, it's a lot long, not a lot longer, but it's a longer trajectory of what that leg has to do. We can see the left leg for Christian Coleman, he gets into internal rotation, extension, that leg comes right through. With Noah Lyles, again, we could see that because he doesn't get into that same position, that initial action is across, and then that takes time away from being able to now having to control that, stop that, and then come right back forward and through. Again, he does a really good job with his right side and making it so he can land and come through a little bit more effectively. But even you could see like that step wasn't a great step. He would probably say that his start wasn't too good in general because that his step on that right side wasn't great, and then the position that he's getting into with that left leg is really slowing him down here. And so when he gets to top speed, it doesn't look the same. I mean, you can still see he has a little bit of that action with that left foot coming in, but he's much cleaner in how his foot's hitting the ground and how his foot's striking the ground. And as he gets more and more into his top speed, he is able to better control that leg, and that helps him in being able to get into the faster speed in general. But it does look like too, by him being able to improve that internal rotation of that left hip, of that left leg, that'll really make a big difference for him. And, one of the things that we talked about a lot of times with Christian Coleman, and I still think ends up being a big thing, is being able to just coordinate that extension better within his upper body, right? Especially on his right side. If we can get better extension in his right shoulder and even a bit of maybe rotation through the thoracic spine, would have to kind of play with it a little bit there because he does a good job of getting thoracic rotation here. You can see how he's rotating to his left side, and he's very coordinated within his left arm, the rotation within his spine, and extension within his right leg. But then on this left side, he doesn't have that same coordination all the way through. He's not getting that right elbow all the way through, and so he's a little bit limited there in what ends up being the rebound effect. And I think small things like that, subtle things like that, make a big difference when it comes to being able to reach your max speed, being able to hold your top speed, being able to really maximize your overall sprinting in general, right? Because when it gets to this level especially, I mean, he ran 978. I think that the wind was not legal, right? So it didn't end up counting, but he's still going to be one of the fastest guys in the 100 regardless. 978 is a great time, and the speed was the wind was 4.4, so it was barely not legal. And so point being is he's not far off running a 978, and he did kind of slow down a little bit, even though I don't think that necessarily makes a big difference, especially when you get to your top speed. Noah Lyles, to me, is not nearly. I've seen him have better starts. I just did a breakdown with him on the 150. He had a much better start with the 150 than he did with this 100 meter. So I know that Noah Lyles is going to be able to run a lot faster time, much more effective time. And, Noah Lyles is much more known to be a 200 meter runner. He's still going to be going up. Christian Coleman is going to be going up against, some of the other top Americans that are running a lot cleaner, right? A lot better with the 100 and have a lot better overall mechanics with both the start as well as the finish. And that's where Christian Coleman has been struggling with lately. So we'll see how that ends up going. I will say, just watching this guy's too big, right? Don't get this big as a sprinter, right? Also, really, both these guys are too stiff in their upper body, right? So we want to just be aware of how we're training, what we're doing in our training. Obviously, these guys are both running really good times. We got a 10:05 and a 10:16, so they're still competing at a high level, but there's a lot of things that I think can be cleaned up just by making some better choices when it comes to training. Like, especially here, what I think we need to do is really focus on getting your knees up and through, your feet up and through, right? There's too many things, too many errors that I could see in the lower body in terms of range of motion, in terms of timing, for us to be this big, right? You shouldn't be that thick, that big up top and have so many things that are issues down below. We want to be able to really understand how to coordinate. And Joseph, I think that he can do a much better job with his arms in terms of being able to coordinate his overall sprint, and you'll be able to get in a much cleaner product when everything is properly accounted for. So again, guys, thanks for watching here. I just want to continue to provide value when it comes to understanding the sprinting mechanic. These guys are always running, always have different things that can end up happening. This is why it's important to work on your start work, important to work on your top end speed to make it so these are habits that you're doing consistently. That's why these guys are able to consistently run such great times, is because they understand how to be able to have a very efficient start, the perfect start, but very efficient, and do things a certain way to be able to maximize their top speed. Yeah, there's always things that you could work on to improve when it comes to technique, but you also want to be able to do that time and place and understand, how you can make certain adjustments and when to make certain adjustments in order to make it so you get really the best benefit from those adjustments. So yeah, I know track and field is coming to an end for a lot of people. Would love to be able to help you guys out when it comes to sprinting. You can check out the description down below. Most importantly, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out some of the things that we've done in the past when it comes to better understanding sprinting mechanics. I am going to be getting into more stuff when it comes to sprinting. I'll offer more opportunities for you guys to learn and understand how to run faster. That's really the main key behind this channel, is giving you just better technique, better understanding of what it takes to really take yourself to the next level. So like, subscribe, talk to you soon.